Hello again there folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel and joining me for a game haul video. It's been a while since I've done one of these because I have been trying to be good. I've been trying to buy slightly fewer games than I ordinarily would. I did back a few games on Kickstarter earlier this year. A number of those have not yet come through, but other than that, I'm doing quite well, I think. I haven't spent too much money. And actually, as I now look at this selection of games here, the only one that I bought myself was the Temple of Cyytok. All of the others were kindly gifted to me by the designers or producers of the games. Some of these I've already played on the channel in one form or another, but these particular copies, these particular versions are not things that I've covered yet. And they are all things that I would like to cover. As to whether they all become things that I do cover, who knows? It's always a bit tricky to fit everything in, so I thought I would run down this little selection of goodies and show you what we've got here, and maybe you'll discover something that you hadn't seen before. So I'll tidy all of this up and we'll bring in the first item that I'm going to talk about. So first up, we've got Alien Sanctuary from DR Games. The designer is Toby Lancaster. Toby is the creator of 2D6 Dungeon, which is a very popular game that I've covered fairly extensively here on the channel. Alien Sanctuary is a game that Toby put together late last year, I think it probably was, and ran a Kickstarter for. It's a much smaller game, much more self-contained game than 2D6 Dungeon, and it is very, very different. It's a very different kind of game. I think really the only similarity between the two is they are both games intended for solo players. So when the Kickstarter was running, I put together a preview video in which I do play a little bit of the game. There'll be a link up in the corner of the screen right about now, and there'll be a bunch of links down in the description below to where you can get these games and my adjacent playthroughs. Now, I played a version that I printed out myself. Toby has very kindly sent me this lovely version here. So the aim of the game with Alien Sanctuary is you are opening up like a wildlife reserve is the word, isn't it? A wildlife reserve, but it's on an alien planet, and you're caring for and nursing back to health aliens. And actually we've got all of the aliens in this little card deck here. This is super cool. There's way more aliens than I thought there was going to be. Got the Aliquin and the Anurite. There's loads. There are loads, and I believe these can be written on with like board pens. So that's kind of cool because you've got various places on these cards where you are tracking different bits and pieces about the alien, how they're faring, how their mood and health is going up and down, and you're sort of nursing them back to health, and that's kind of the aim of the game, really. So it's sort of like a management game akin to like Zoo Tycoon or some of those old school games. Oh look, Toby's included a signed one in there. That's pretty cool. Does he mention any inspirations here? I'm not sure he does, but yeah, I think that's kind of the intention of this game. Is it's like those old school tycoon games where you're managing various stats, managing the income of the place and the outgoings, and balancing everything, and occasionally dealing with particular events. This being a DR Games game, obviously there is some random tables. So we've got the climate event table and the habitat event table, bunch of event tables. And then you've also got the sheets at the back as well, so if you don't want to purchase the cards, you get those in there. Yeah, this is the hardback version. There is also a paperback version, which is very affordable, I would imagine. And yeah, I've got a crib sheet. He sent me a bunch of goodies. And then phase 4, which is an expansion that adds an additional phase on top of the 3 main phases. And this consists of various events that can reward or penalise and often have an impact on the alien or the sanctuary. Okay, so basically we've got a bunch of additional events, maybe, although I can't see any event tables here. Oh look, unfortunate events: infected aliens, hunting party, misguided activists, power cut, the common cold. Okay, so you just got some flavour-filled additional unfortunate events. Is that what I was just looking at? It was, wasn't it? Oh, and then some positive events, I guess. Guest speaker, someone coming and filming a documentary. Yeah, very cool. So just a bunch of different ideas and bits and pieces that can add flavour and variety to the game. Super cool. Now that I have got a proper version of the game with the lovely cards, I'm almost certainly going to be checking out Alien Sanctuary again and bringing it to the channel, because it's a little bit different to the sorts of games I ordinarily play here. And I used to like games like that, where you were managing a theme park or a hospital or whatever else it may be, back on my Amiga 500 in the 90s. So there you go, that is Alien Sanctuary from DR Games. Looks like a good one. Well, I know it's a good one because I've already played it, but I'm looking forward to playing this full final version. Next up, we have got Bekir's Battles, the Temple of Cyytok. So this is a ultra compact miniatures agnostic skirmish game, so you can use any miniatures you want. I don't have a lot of miniatures. I've got a feeling I'm going to end up using like tokens or something. But it's made to be used with Bekir's Battlers, which is a series of miniatures from the same company, which is Crumbling Keep Games. Crumbling Keep Games is the outfit that creates Marching Order, which is a fantastic dungeon crawling game that I have played on the channel. Link up here. It's a really good one, and there's a second edition of it coming out soon, but this was funded through Kickstarter, and it's sort of an all-in-one really. Look, even here we've got the terrain that you can cut out and make. There's a single sheet of paper. We've got all of the rules here, and then on the other side we have got the arena in which you play. Over here we've got the stats for your characters: an acrobat, a barbarian, a cavalier, a man-at-arms, a ranger, a thief and a wizard. And then down here we've got the forces of chaos, so the enemies that you would face, and they are all goblins. So I haven't looked too closely at this yet, but it looks very accessible, as you would expect from Crumbling Keep Games. And it looks like it's got a nice sort of sense of humour to it, and I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I'm definitely going to be giving it a go. It's close to the top of the pile. Let me know, would you like to see the Temple of Cyytok on the channel? Then we've got Zilight Wild West, and I've got the cards to go with that as well, and a couple of little tokens. I mean, I'm assuming they are used in the game in some way. Maybe they're trackers, because I know in here I have a tracking sheet. How do I open this? There we go. No, it's not for that. I'm not too sure what it's for then. Oh, another one. Is that exactly the same? I'm not sure it is. So I've got 2 sheets that do different things. Intriguing. So this is a game based around a standard deck of cards, so clubs and hearts and all that. They do also provide specific cards for the game, so not only do they have the suits, they also have the information about the events and the encounters on them. Zilight Wild West is a zombie game. It is set in the Wild West. Already I'm intrigued. I've played the original Zilight here on the channel before and enjoyed it quite a bit. I've also played a recent little compact game set in the same universe. I think it was called High Noon, which recently funded on Kickstarter. Had quite a bit of fun with that as well, and they kindly sent me the Wild West version of the main game. So I'm a big fan of zombies. I like the zombie genre quite a bit. I always have. I like the movies. I like reading zombie books. And so it appeals to me, and I like the idea of transplanting zombies into other genres and settings, because why not? So it's a small zine. The rules are very accessible, I would imagine, but not super basic. We've got boons and banes. We've got rules for being loud, rules for being exhausted. Here's a little combat sequence. So, you know, there's stuff to think about, but a good half of this book is filled with the cards. So the idea is that you play this with a normal deck of cards. You don't need the special cards. And then when you draw a card, you turn to the relevant page in this book and you find out what that card means for your adventurer. So I think the aim is to sort of last as long as possible. The main aim is to survive for 28 days. So yeah, you're fighting zombies, you're dealing with being in the Wild West during a zombie apocalypse. Really cool idea. These are sheets that you sort of place your cards on as you're going. I don't remember exactly how they work, but there you go. That's Zilight Wild West. There's a bunch of games in the Zilight series, and they're well thought of by the fans of these games. I think there's 5 or 6 now, set in different eras of history and things like that. Zilight Wild West. It's from, I didn't say, the designer is Stephen Hart, and it's from Grinning Frog Games, which is an independent company that focuses exclusively, I think, almost exclusively on solo tabletop games. They are worth supporting. They're nice guys, and they produce fun, accessible solo games. So that's Zilight Wild West. Next up, we have got the Overland Oracle, a visual world building tool. And this is from, does say somewhere, Shield Dice Studios. The designer is Jay. I forget your surname, Jay. Apologies. But Shield Dice Studios is the company. Jay is the designer of a game system called Loom, a dedicated overland exploration game that's got really interesting different mechanics. In fact, let me just very quickly show you Loom, because I think it's a game that doesn't get enough love. Alright, I think I don't have the original Loom. I must have printed it out myself and I can't find it right now. But Jay has in the past, Jay Merritt, there we go. Jay has in the past sent me the second in the Loom series. That's this Loom, The Bells of Basin City. And also this book of lore about the lands of Loom. It's this whole world that he's conjured up. The Loom books have a sort of quasi, almost alien, retro, electronic style to them. I mean, this looks like sort of an Amiga 500 or a Commodore 64, but with weird symbology all over it. And this is the land of Loom here. And Jay is a graphic designer, and obviously that comes across in the very unusual sort of style and quite accomplished graphic design of his products. So that is Loom. I've played that on the channel. That's cool. But we're looking at Overland Oracle. And this is a set of cards. It's recently funded on Kickstarter. I think the Kickstarter is over now, but no doubt these will be available. I'll include a link to the Kickstarter if you want to find out more. And the idea is to use these to generate overland adventures by joining them up. I'm not 100% sure how they work, but there's different symbols involved, and Jay is working hard, I believe, to produce a guidebook as to how to use them. But the idea is you sort of join things together and they connect. So here we would have a gateway to an estate, and there's a spiked gate, for example. So you can generate multiple ideas by connecting these cards in different ways, either intentionally or at random. So there you go, we've got a suspicious pilot, for example, a noble warlord, and flying supplies. So maybe the suspicious pilot is receiving some supplies for a journey that he's going on in his air machine, and the flying supplies have been stolen by a noble warlord. There's an enemy camp for the warlord nearby. So you can very quickly sort of use these cards to generate ideas like that. They're very well designed, they're very well thought through. I've done that a couple of times. I haven't used them really yet, but whenever I sort of lay them out on the table like that, it sort of gets my brain whirring, and they very quickly enable you to generate different ideas. There you go, look, the suspicious pilot has a vibrant airship. Very cool. So that is the Overland Oracle from Shield Dice Studios. Check it out if this is the sort of thing that you like. Jay is a nice guy and a great designer, and it would be good for his products to get a little bit more love, I think. There you go, that's the Overland Oracle. And last but by no means least, we have some recent additions to the Doom Pilgrim universe. Doom Pilgrim is a grim, dark, solo overland exploration game from Vaclav Games, or Warclaw Games, I never know how to pronounce it. Vaclav often sends me Doom Pilgrim stuff to cover on the channel. It's a series of games that will be familiar to long-time viewers, as I'm very fond of this system and have played it here on the Lone Adventurer channel a couple of times now. There'll be a link to one of the playthroughs up in the corner of the screen right about now. And we've got two new things here. We have got the new Doom Pilgrim Pocket version. I think it's been around for a few months now. And in fact, the Doom Pilgrim Pocket edition has an expansion, I believe. Doom Pilgrim Doom Deeper Pocket edition. I have got the main Doom Deeper expansion for the main game, and this here is the Doom Pilgrim Black Bag. I think we've got two black bags, there we go. And this expansion here not only adds the cards that are in here that we'll look at in a second, but if we flip it over, it also adds a dice system, because Doom Pilgrim is not a game that up until now has relied on the rolling of dice, but this expansion adds those mechanics. So if you like rolling dice, you can now follow these new additional rules that are in here and add dice to your game. So we've got a simple dice system, a complex dice system, and some other stuff that I haven't read yet, so I'm not going to get into. And this rulebook is filled with Vaclav's bleak, grimdark art. We've even got a nice double-page spread there of some kind of dark night. But the main thing here for me is the black bag. So this is a whole bunch of tiny little cards. I'll get them all out. Little miniature cards, and they all have unique small encounters on that you can add to your game to add more variety, and there are loads, and they are all double-sided. So that's really cool, and there's a number of ways you can integrate these cards into your Doom Pilgrim game, and they are outlined in this rulebook here. So for example, let's draw a couple out. How wealthy are you? If you have 10 or more gold for a longer time than the last regular turn, you lead a lavish life with plenty of red meat. Finally, it has consequences. You've got the gout disease, the disease of the rich. Otherwise, return to the begging bowl, nothing for you here. I think a lot of these are quite bad, like bad things happening. I think some of them are good, but a lot of them are bad. Let's see if we can find another one here. You have spent a long time on your way with a travelling student and a monk. At first, their ongoing discussions make you nervous, but soon you started to understand, and after some time you even feel your mind is in much better shape after all the disruptions. Mind disruption and confusion tolerance each rises by 4, or one of them by 2. You choose. That's pretty cool. So that's a more positive thing. So those are nice. And you can use those additional micro encounters with the main game or with Doom Pilgrim Pocket, because both the Pocket Edition and the main game use the same rules by and large, I believe. And in here we've just got a whole bunch of cards that are more indicative of how Doom Pilgrim ordinarily goes, which is you look at some of the backs, and based upon your existing knowledge, having played the game before, or just going on vibes, you choose which one of the cards you want to encounter. You put another one to the bottom of the deck, and another one leaves the game for the time being. And then you turn it over and you read. So there's all sorts of cool ideas in here. There are loads of cards, given how small the tin is. Doesn't say on the back how many there are, but there are plenty. And if you combine it with the black bag, you have got really quite a lot of plays before you get overly familiar with the game. And as I've said before, the aim with Doom Pilgrim, I think, is not only to look at and interpret the illustrations, but also become familiar with them so that you know which ones you should be picking based upon your hero's current situation. So that's it, folks. That's Doom Pilgrim, Doom Pilgrim Pocket and Doom Pilgrim Black Bag. Vaclav has got another game on Kickstarter at the moment. I think it's basically the same as Doom Pilgrim, but set in a different world, like a world that's much closer to an ordinary fantasy setting. So if you like your fantasy a bit more old school, a bit more traditional, then that might be worth checking out. At time of filming, that is crowdfunding on Gamecrafter, but I'm not sure when this video is going to be going out, so it might not still be up by the time this video comes out. But there you go. Doom Pilgrim, it's an ongoing project, it's well supported, lots of cool stuff is being added. Check out my playthrough to see whether it's something you might enjoy. But that's it for the time being, folks. I hope there was something there to tickle your fancy. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any of these, if you've played any of them. I'll be interested to hear about your experiences. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this far. See you in the next one. Bye for now.